Hello everyone. Let's discuss about Elliott wave theory and some tests related to semi-strong form as well as weak form. Time series properties of price changes. നമ്മൾ യൂഷ്വലി ഫ്യൂച്ചർ പ്രൈസ് എല്ലാം പ്രെഡിക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ പ്രൈസ് ചാർട്ട്സ് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യും, പാറ്റേൺ അനാലിസിസ് എല്ലാം ചെയ്യും. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ മാർക്കറ്റ് എഫിഷ്യൻ്റ് ആണോ എന്ന് അനലൈസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ടെസ്റ്റുകളും പരിചയപ്പെട്ടു. എപ്പോഴും ഈ പ്രൈസ് ചേഞ്ചസിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന ഈ മാർക്കറ്റ് എഫിഷ്യൻസി ആ ഒരു കാര്യം രണ്ട് മെയിൻ കാര്യങ്ങളിലൂടെയാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കുന്നത്. ഷോർട്ട് ടേം പ്രൈസ് മൂവ്മെൻറ്റ്സ് ആൻഡ് ലോങ് ടേം പ്രൈസ് മൂവ്മെൻറ്റ്സ്. അതാണ് നമ്മളിവിടെ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഷോർട്ട് ടേം പ്രൈസ് മൂവ്മെൻറ്റ്സ്. ഷോർട്ട് ടേം പ്രൈസ് മൂവ്മെൻറ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? ദ നോഷൻ is that today's price change conveys information about tomorrow's price change is deep rooted in most investors' minds. അതായത് എപ്പോഴും പറയുന്നത് ഒന്നാണ്, ഇന്നത്തെ പ്രൈസ് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് നാളത്തെ ഫ്യൂച്ചറിൽ പ്രെഡിക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും എന്നാണ് വിചാരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു കാര്യം ശരിയാണോ എന്ന് ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചൊരു മെത്തേഡ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. അത് ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന മെത്തേഡ്സ് ആണ് സീരിയൽ കോറിലേഷൻ, ഫിൽറ്റർ ടെസ്റ്റ്, റൺ ടെസ്റ്റ്, അതർ ടെസ്റ്റ് എക്സെട്ര. അതിൽ സീരിയൽ കോറിലേഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണെന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. That is, it is used to measure the extent of association of one series of securities prices with a series in the past. അതായത് സെർട്ടൺ ഒരു സെക്യൂരിറ്റി പ്രൈസസിന് ഒരു ടുഡേത്തെ പ്രൈസ് ലെവലും നമ്മുടെ പ്രീവിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സെക്യൂരിറ്റി പ്രൈസ് തമ്മിലുള്ള അസോസിയേഷൻ എത്രത്തോളമാണ് എന്നാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. Weak form of EMH assumes the independence between the successive price changes. Such independence of the price movements can be tested by calculating the correlation between price change in one period and the changes for the same stock in the another period. First we will take a certain period 1 and period 2, and we will find out the association of security prices among these periods. And usually we know that the value of the correlation coefficient ranges between -1 to +1. If we get the correlation value as +1, which shows it has direct relation, whereas if we get a negative value, it indicates an inverse relationship, and when value relates to 0, it implies that there will be no relationship between the price changes of price changes in one period and the changes in the same stock, changes in the price for the same stock in another period. And a serial correlation 0 implies that price changes in the consecutive time periods are uncorrelated. That is, there will be no relationship between the price changes of one period with another period, and can thus be viewed as a rejection of hypothesis. That is, we have already set the hypothesis such as today's price change conveys information about tomorrow's price change, and it is deeply rooted in investors' mind, and such hypothesis will be rejected if we get the serial correlation as 0. That is, there will be no relationship in the price changes in consecutive time periods. Then a serial correlation is positive. Think we get a positive value result, which is known as it is statistically significant, and we can say that there is direct relationship between the price changes in consecutive period. And if it is negative, which means it is the evidence of price reversal, there is no relationship between, there is inverse relationship between the price changes in two periods. In first period the price may go up, and in second period the price may get down. So that means there is no relationship with direct relationship, there is inverse relationship. That is, it is the evidence of price reversals. Clear? And Moore measures the correlation coefficient of price changes of 1 week with the price changes a week later, and so on down the line. As already stated, if correlation coefficient is very low, it indicates a price did not show the tendency to the price falls, and vice versa. And this is about our serial correlation. Then comes to the next one, that is a filter test. Filtering is the screening of the important information that affects the prices from unimportant, and see how well the price changes pick up the trends and reversal. Filtering means what? It's a technique of filtering the important information from unimportant information. That is known as filtering. In a filter rule, an investor buys an investment if the price rises X% from previous low and holds the investment until the price drops X% from a previous high. And according to the filter rule, we can say that an investor will buy an investment if prices rises. Suppose if it is 5% or 10%, if prices rises 10% from previous low and holds the investment, that means the investor will keep that particular investment until the price drops that particular 10% from a previous high. And filter tests are based on the principle of fixing a filter level varying from 0.5% to 5%. Hereby we are examining the price changes, whether there is any trend or reversals and so on. And if something new information happens in particular market, the price will fluctuate according to that. Fluctuate according to that, as well as a new equilibrium price will be determined. If the new information is favorable to the market, what will happen? We know that the price of the securities will go up and will reach into a new equilibrium above the old price. Then what will happen if that particular information is unfavorable? If such information is unfavorable, what will happen? Again, the price will move down and a new equilibrium will be made. And if there will be suppose there will be no new information in the market, then what will happen? In the absence of new information, the price fluctuates randomly within the limits. That is, one lower limit and other higher limit. And here the filter level, which is fixed as usually the filter level varies from 0.5% to 5%. That is, if a stock moves up, a filter point says 5%, then buy it and hold it long, and when reverses by the same filter point 5%, sell it and take short position in it. And short position means where one sells even without share to deliver. Maybe that particular investor won't have shares of that particular company, but still without having shares, that investor can sell it. That is known as short position. Similarly, if the news is unfavorable, the price of the stock will decline, will come down to a lower equilibrium level. And if the investors sell the security as it breaks the lower barrier, they will avoid much of the decline, etc., as already stated. And this is about our filter test. And the third type of test is about, and one more thing is, this filter test is based upon the assumption of price momentum, and it is usually used by the technical analyst. It's a common test. And the third type of test is the run test. We have already learned about these run test and all in our quantitative techniques. And a run test is a non-parametric variation on the serial correlation and is based upon the count of the number of runs. Here, only the direction of the change is considered. There is no importance for that value, whether the share is moving upward or downward. If share is moving upward, we will assign a positive sign, and if it is moves downwards, we will assign a negative sign. And such method is known as run test. And mainly it is intended to test the randomness in the movement of the stock prices, that is, to determine the fluctuations in the prices of the securities. This is about our run test. And the next one is other test, includes Brownian motion in physics. It's a kind of random walk. The research conducted by Osborne showed that stock prices moved in a Brownian fashion, that is, like random walk theory stated. According to the random walk theory, what does it mean? The share prices will move in a random fashion. That is, the changes in the stock prices are independent of each other, and the prices of today are independent of the past trend. And according to random theory, we learned that the market prices evolve at random and do not follow any particular pattern, etc. And such thing is also stated by Osborne. He conducted a research and he showed that the stock prices moved in a Brownian fashion. These are the important tests to determine the variation in prices, or for the purpose of proving the efficiency from price changes. Then we are going to learn about the empirical test of semi-strong form of efficiency. We know that about the semi-strong form of efficiency, which means all public informations will be available to all investors and also reflect the price. The security prices also reflects all publicly available information about the company under the study. And the publicly available information about a company will be available from annual reports, press releases, declaration of dividends, etc. And according to this form, it is assumed that stock prices changes as soon as information becomes public. And there's another thing about insider information. Insider information will not be available for public according to the semi-strong form of efficiency. And once that insider information will become public, so the price will change. And here in our textbook, it is mentioned about some kind of test. That is, much of the methodology used in semi-strong form test has been introduced by Farmer, Fisher, Jensen and Roll. And the common methodology followed here is to determine an economic event and measure its impact on the share price. They have already learned about the event study. It's one of the tests to determine the form of efficiency. And event study, are you remembering about event study? And event study means first of all we have to determine that a particular event, and we have to examine the market reactions and the consequences of that particular event on the market. And the event may be macroeconomic announcements, firm specific things, etc. Maybe it may be the earnings related or dividend announcement, etc. Here also it says that usually to understand about the semi form, usually they are conducting an event study. First of all, they will find out a particular economic event and measure its impact on the share price. And the impact is measured by taking the difference between actual return and the expected return on a stock, similar to the event study. The expected return on a security is generally estimated by using the market model that's suggested by the William Sharpe. And it is RI equal to AI plus BI plus RM plus EI. That is, RI stands for the return on security, RM stands for return on market index, and AI and BI are the constants, and EI for the error, random error. And this is also known as residual analysis. If we have the positive difference between the actual returns and expected returns, it represents the excess return earned on a security. If excess return is 0 or close to 0, it indicates the price reaction following the public announcement of information is immediate and price adjusts to a new level almost immediately, which means the security prices reflect that particular information immediately. And if we have much differences between the actual return and the expected return, that means if we have excess return, that shows the informations are not fully reflected in the security prices. That is, the informations are not fully available to the public. That is the difference. And it's about semi-strong form of efficiency test. And here also, thus the lack of excess return, which means that is the semi-strong form of efficient market hypothesis. And studies conducted by them, Pharma, Fisher, Jensen and al., reveals that market adjusted the share prices immediately and accurately for the new information. When something new even happens, or some new information enters into the market will adjust as soon as possible, and that means that information, the economic information, the information related to the event will be surely available to the investors. Clear? This is about our semi-strong form of efficiency test. Then comes to the long-term price movements, and here long-term means it is defined as months rather than years. Seems to be tendency towards positive serial correlation. And the long term, sometimes the long term is also defined in terms of years when there is negative correlation returns. If we have the positive serial correlation, that is the one period, the price changes in securities of one period is if the price changes of securities in one period is positively related to the price changes of securities in another period, if it is positively related, and it is considered as months rather than years. But when long term is defined in terms of years, when there is negative correlation returns, suggesting that market reverses themselves over a long period of time. In long period of time, there will be trend reversals in the market. And Pharma and French examined 5-year returns on stock from 1931 to 1986 and present the further evidence of this phenomenon. And they found that the serial correlation is more negative in 5-year returns than 1-year return. That is much more negative for small stocks rather than large stock, which is usually a sign of the trend reversal and all. Clear? Okay, coming to the next theory, we have already learnt about two theories. The first theory is Doe theory, and the second one is random walk theory, and the third one is the Elliott waves theory. The Elliott wave theory is named after Ralph Nelson Elliott, that is R.N. Elliott. R.N. Elliott developed his wave theory in the year 1939, and it's a method for explaining the stock market movements and inspired by Doe theory or by observations found throughout nature. And he concluded that the movement of the stock market could be predicted by observing and identifying the repetitive pattern of waves. So, the Elliott theory states that movement of stock prices can be determined by identifying the repetitive nature of waves. See the picture here, and from this we can understand that the price moves in a pattern. We have already learned about it, that there are different price movements, pattern analysis and all, head and shoulder. Then what? That we have already learned about many things, right? Uptrend, downtrend, head and shoulder, support analysis, cup and handle, triangle, rectangle, etc. We all know that the technical analyst believes that the prices will move in a orderly fashion or in a pattern. That's why we have done the pattern analysis. And here, according to this theory, there are altogether 8 waves. It states that in general, there will be 5 waves in given direction, followed by 3 waves. 3 waves will be in opposite direction. In the picture, we can say that 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will move in same direction, and 3 waves, which is named as A, B and C, will move in opposite direction. These patterns can be seen in long-term as well as short-term charts. And out of these 5 waves, 3 waves are in the direction of movement and are called as impulse waves, and 2 waves are against the direction of the movement, that is in opposite direction, which is known as corrective waves or reaction waves. And let's discuss about each wave. First one is wave 1, that is the stock makes its initial moves upwards. It is usually caused by a small number of people feels that the previous price of the stock was cheap and therefore worth buying it, and causing the prices to go up. So that it's a start of a particular price line, that is initially maybe the prices falls down, and from that as Dow theory already stated, from that the prices, the people will think that the price will recover, and there will be good position for that particular company. So more and more people will come and buy that security, so the prices will move upward initially, and that's the situation in case of wave 1. Then what about wave 2? Here the stock is considered as overvalued. At this point, more and more number of people consider the stock overpriced and book their profits. This causes the prices to go down, and in general the stock will not go to its previous low. Hope it's clear for you. Before the stock is considered, see in the picture, here initially the price will move upward, and more people consider the situation as overpriced, and what will they do? They will sell, they will ensure their profit, so they will sell the stocks, so the prices will come down. And what about third wave? That is the longest and strongest wave. Here more people want to buy the stock, and they will get more and more price, and they will buy for a higher price too, and this wave will be higher than the first wave. Then what about next? About wave 4, again people will take profits, and they will be considering the stock as overvalued, so they will make profits, they will take profits. Due to that, the wave tends to be weak, so more and more people are actually bullish condition, more and more people are buying it, but those who have bought that particular security before will sell right now, so they will sell it, so it comes to downwards. A short wave, wave 4. Then comes wave 5. Here also more and more people buy the stock, and this stage is driven by hysteria and not guided by the reason, because people don't know much about this. They are seeing that the prices will get raising every day, so they think, oh, it's a good stock and they can make much profit from this, so they will, more and more people will buy such particular security, and at this point stock becomes the most overpriced. It is the top position of this wave pattern, and the stock will move into one of two patterns. Maybe it is correction in opposite direction, or it will start again with wave 1. And then in this graph it shows that it's about an ABC correction. And what is this ABC correction? An ABC correction is when the stock will go down or up or down in preparing for another 5-way cycle up. And during this time, it is much volatile situation than previous one. Maybe there may be a chance for trend reversal, or else it will start over with wave 1. That is about the ABC correction. And 1 to 5 waves will move in same direction, whereas ABC wave will move in opposite correction, which is also known as corrective waves or reaction waves. And trading using this is very simple, and these waves are created as a result of buying and selling. And if the demand exceeds supply, there is pressure overboard situation leading to rise in prices. If supply exceeds demand, there is oversold position which leads to a downward trend in prices. And here the major assumption is the market is not efficient. The first thing is market is not efficient. All information will not available to every investors, so that the persons or the investors who already know about that market information, they will overreact and they will plan to trade in securities. And the second assumption is, so first assumption is the market is not efficient, and the second assumption is that is market is not efficient, so that we should be able to do a sociological survey of stock prices independent of other news that affect stock prices. We will be measuring the global effects that masses will have on the stock. And it is observed that stock prices move independently or in opposite direction about news about company, economy or stock will happen. So second assumption is that the market is not as efficient, then we should be able to do a sociological survey, that is some kind of fundamental analysis to determine the stock price movements. This is about our Elliott wave theory. So in this chapter we have learned 3 theories: Doe theory, Vanderbilt theory as well as Elliott wave theory. These are the 3 kinds of theories.